It is 2:47 inches the morning. The room is completely dark. You have not moved in an hour. Your eyes are open. Your mind is turning over something that happened 3 days ago, a conversation, a bill, something someone said, or nothing at all, just the ceiling. Just the weight of being awake when you should not be. You got into bed at 10:30. You were genuinely tired. And then, somewhere between the pillow and sleep, something turned on inside you. A hum. A low-level electric current running through your chest that had no off switch. You shifted position. You counted backward. You got up, drank water, came back, stared at the ceiling again. By the time you finally fell asleep, it was after 4. And by 6:30, the light came through the curtains, and that was it. You have tried melatonin, you have tried magnesium, you have tried white noise machines, and blackout curtains, and chamomile tea, and going to bed earlier, and going to bed later. And nothing works consistently. Some nights are fine, most are not. Here is what nobody has told you. What you are experiencing is not insomnia, at least not in most cases. It is a nervous system that has forgotten how to switch off. And the reason your melatonin is not working, the reason your sleep hygiene checklist is not working, is that none of those tools address the actual mechanism. They are aimed at the wrong target. The target is not your brain, it is your breath. There is no billing code for teaching someone how to breathe correctly. That is not cynicism, that is economics. If you are over 55, there is a very high probability that you have been waking between 2 and 4 inches the morning for months, possibly years. Not because something is broken in your brain, not because you have a disorder, but because one specific physiological process, one that you have complete voluntary control over, has been dysregulated for so long that your body has accepted it as normal. And tonight, that changes. Before we go any further, I need you to hear this clearly. There are sleep problems that are not breathing problems, and they require a clinician, not a protocol. If you stop breathing during sleep, if your partner says you snore loudly, gasp, or go silent for several seconds at a time, that is obstructive sleep apnea, and it requires a sleep study, not a breathing exercise. If you are waking up with a racing heart above 100 beats per minute, drenched in sweat, with chest pain or pressure, that is a cardiac event and you call emergency services immediately. If your sleep disruption began suddenly and is accompanied by unexplained weight loss, bone pain, or extreme fatigue that does not improve with rest, that is a reason to see a physician this week, not next month. If none of those apply to you, keep listening. What follows is for you. Here is what is actually happening in your body at 2:47 inches the morning. Your nervous system has 2 branches. Think of them as 2 separate operating modes running in parallel, like a car with 2 engines. The first is the sympathetic system, the accelerator. It is designed for danger. When it activates, your heart rate climbs, your muscles tense, blood moves away from your digestive organs and toward your limbs, cortisol floods your bloodstream, and your brain enters a state of high alert scanning. It is extraordinarily useful when you are in genuine danger. It is catastrophic when it activates at midnight for no reason. The second branch is the parasympathetic system, the brake. It is the rest and repair mode. When it is dominant, your heart rate drops, your blood pressure falls, your digestion resumes, and your brain begins the process of moving into deep sleep. The sleep you actually need is not possible without this system in control. Here is the problem. After decades of low-grade chronic stress work, relationships, financial pressure, health anxiety, the news, the noise, the accelerator has become the default. Your nervous system has been conditioned to run hot, and at night, when there is nothing left to distract it, the accelerator runs unopposed. The melatonin you take tells your brain it is dark outside. Your brain already knew that. The chamomile tea relaxes your muscles slightly, but neither one touches the sympathetic nervous system. Neither one reaches the actual switch. There is one structure in your body that has direct, documented, bidirectional access to both branches of your nervous system simultaneously. It is called the vagus nerve, and it runs from the base of your brain all the way down through your chest, through your diaphragm, and into your abdomen. It is the longest nerve in the body. and it governs your heart rate, your breathing rate, your digestive function, and the fundamental balance between your two nervous system modes. Here is what took decades of research to fully understand. You cannot consciously reach your vagus nerve. You cannot think your way to it. You cannot decide to activate it. But you can influence it through one mechanism that sits at the precise intersection of voluntary and involuntary your breath. Breathing is the only autonomic function your body performs automatically that you can also choose to control. Your heartbeat is automatic. You cannot decide to slow it down through willpower. Your digestion is automatic, but your breath sits in both worlds. It runs on autopilot and it responds to conscious direction. When you exhale slowly and completely, your heart rate drops every single time without exception. This is not a theory. It is a measurable, predictable, physiological event called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. The longer and more complete your exhale, the stronger the signal to your vagus nerve. The stronger that signal, the harder the brake applies to your sympathetic system. The cortisol stops, the alertness drops, the brain releases its grip. The problem is that almost every person over 60 breathes incorrectly, not occasionally, constantly. Upper chest breathing, short inhales, incomplete exhales, unconscious breath holding under stress. Each of these habits is a small message to the nervous system. We are not safe. And the nervous system responds accordingly, around the clock, including at 2:47 inches the morning. There is one more mechanism that almost no sleep discussion covers, and it is critical for understanding why some people cannot fall asleep even when they are exhausted. Inside your bloodstream right now, CO2, carbon dioxide, acts as a chemical signal. When CO2 rises slightly above baseline, it triggers the urge to breathe. This is normal. This is the system working correctly. But in people who breathe rapidly and shallowly under chronic stress, CO2 levels are chronically low. The system becomes sensitized. The brain starts interpreting even small rises in CO2, the kind that happen naturally during the transition into sleep, as a threat. It fires an arousal signal. You jerk awake just as you are drifting off. You feel a small surge of adrenaline. Your heart rate spikes. The cycle restarts. This is not imaginary. This is not anxiety in the colloquial sense. This is a calibration error in a specific respiratory reflex, and it can be recalibrated through consistent breathing practice within 3 to 4 weeks. Here is a simple self-test. Sit quietly. Take a normal breath in. Exhale normally. Then hold your breath and count quietly until you feel the first genuine urge to breathe. Not a panic, just the first clear signal. If that number is below 20 seconds, your CO2 tolerance is low. Between 20 and 40 is average, above 40 is good. Most adults with sleep complaints score below 20. Run this test right now if you want. The result will tell you something specific about where your breathing currently lives. Consider someone I will call Dorothy, 68 years old, retired school teacher. Sharp, organized, completely convinced she had clinical insomnia because 2 separate doctors had told her she did and given her prescriptions she did not want to take. Dorothy had not slept more than 4 consecutive hours in 2 years. She had tried everything the internet recommends: consistent bedtime, no screens, no caffeine after noon, a white noise machine, a weighted blanket. None of it worked consistently. Some nights she would sleep well for no discernible reason. Most nights she would lie awake from 2 until 5, mind running, unable to find the off switch. When the full picture was examined, not just the sleep, but her breathing patterns, her afternoon anxiety levels, her cortisol rhythm, a different story emerged. Dorothy was a shallow chest breather. Under any stress, her breathing rate accelerated. She held her breath without knowing it while reading the news. Her CO2 tolerance test came in at 14 seconds. Her body was in a low-grade state of physiological alarm every hour of every day, including the hours she was trying to sleep. Nobody had asked about her breathing. Nobody had measured her exhale length or assessed her vagal tone. They had assessed her insomnia and treated the symptom. The mechanism had never been touched. What Dorothy was given was not a pill and not a supplement. It was a sequenced protocol built around one core tool, the 4-7-8 breath, embedded in a complete evening system. Here is that system exactly. Before you reach for your phone in the morning, before the news, before the messages, before anything, do 4 cycles of this. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold gently for a count of 7. Exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 8. 4 cycles, approximately 2 minutes. This sets the tone for your nervous system's entire operating mode for the morning hours. You are telling your system, before the day can tell it anything else, that you are safe. The exhale being longest is not arbitrary. The exhale activates the vagus nerve. The hold allows CO2 to accumulate slightly, recalibrating the reflex threshold. 4 cycles in the morning begins building a physiological habit that compounds over weeks. There are 3 common daytime habits that chronically activate the sympathetic system and make nighttime sleep structurally harder. The first is shallow chest breathing during sedentary activity. Sitting at a desk, watching television, reading, most people breathe in their upper chest and never fully exhale. Set an alarm for every 90 minutes during the day. When it sounds, take 1 full diaphragmatic breath, belly rises, not chest, and exhale completely. 1 breath, 90 seconds of your attention. That is the entire daytime component. The second is caffeine after 1 inch the afternoon. Caffeine has a half-life of roughly 5 to 7 hours in most adults, over 60, longer in some. A cup of coffee at 3 inches the afternoon still has half its stimulant load in your bloodstream at 8 inches the evening. This is not a suggestion. It is arithmetic. The third is eating a large meal within 2 hours of bed. When your digestive system is working hard, your body is in an active metabolic state that is biologically incompatible with deep sleep onset. A light dinner, finished 2 hours before your target sleep time, is not a dietary rule. It is a physiological requirement for the transition into slow-wave sleep. The transition into sleep is not a switch. It is a ramp. Your body needs a consistent, uninterrupted signal that the ramp has begun. 60 minutes before your target sleep time, dim all lights in the room you are in. Not completely dark, just noticeably dimmer. Screen light from phones and televisions suppresses melatonin production in real time. This is not a myth. It is photobiology. A blue light blocking setting or simply turning the screen away helps, but dimming the ambient light in the room does more. During this hour, your only instruction is this: do not introduce any new information. No news, no difficult conversations, no planning. If thoughts arise about tomorrow, write them in 2 sentences on a notepad and set it aside. The act of writing externalizes the thought. Your brain stops holding it. Lie down before you intend to sleep, on your bed, on a couch, anywhere flat. Place 1 hand on your chest and 1 on your abdomen. Inhale slowly through your nose. Your chest hand should remain largely still. Your belly hand should rise. If your chest is rising and your belly is not, you are chest breathing. Let the belly lead. Now, inhale for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 7. Not a tense hold, a relaxed hold, as if you are simply pausing. Exhale through your mouth for a full count of 8. The exhale should be audible. It should feel complete, as though you are wringing every last bit of air from the bottom of your lungs. Do 8 full cycles. This takes approximately 4 minutes. Within the first 2 or 3 cycles, you will feel your heart rate change, not dramatically acetylene, a slight heaviness in the limbs, a slowing of the thoughts. This is the parasympathetic system engaging. This is the brake activating. You are not imagining it. You are measuring it with your own nervous system. After 8 cycles, do not reach for your phone. Do not check the time. Simply roll to your preferred side and allow the process to continue. If thoughts return, return to the exhale, not to counting, just to the length and completeness of the out-breath. The exhale is the anchor. Do not turn on a light. Do not check your phone. Do not begin problem solving. Lie still, find the exhale, and do 4 cycles of 4, 7, 8 before doing anything else. In most cases, within 1 to 2 weeks of consistent practice, the middle of night waking decreases in both frequency and duration. The nervous system is learning a new default. It does not learn it in one night, it learns it through repetition. Dorothy started the protocol on a Tuesday. By Friday, she said it felt like nothing had changed except that she was breathing differently. By the following Thursday, she reported sleeping 5.5 uninterrupted hours, the most in 2 years. 6 weeks later, she was consistently sleeping 6 to 7 hours, with one brief waking that she returned from quickly. Her CO2 tolerance test at 8 weeks came in at 31 seconds. Her nervous system had recalibrated, not because of a pill, because she had given it consistently and deliberately the one input it had been missing. Here is what you do starting tonight. Step 1. Before you reach for your phone tomorrow morning, sit up and do 4 cycles of 4-7-8. 4 in, 7 hold, 8 out. Write the numbers on a sticky note and put it on your phone face. Step 2. Set a 90-minute alarm during the day. When it fires, take 1 full diaphragmatic belly breath and exhale completely. Once. Then continue your day. Step 3. Finish eating 2 hours before your target sleep time tonight. Step 4. 1 hour before bed, dim every light in the room. No new information, no news, no difficult calls, no planning. Step 5. 15 minutes before sleep, lie flat, place both hands on your body, and do 8 cycles of 4-7-8. Do not rush them. Each cycle is approximately 19 seconds. 8 cycles is approximately 4 minutes. Do this for 14 consecutive days without judging whether it is working. The recalibration of a nervous system that has been running hot for years does not happen in 3 nights. It happens in 2 to 4 weeks of consistent repetition. How old are you? Write it in the comments below. Not as a trivial question, as a useful one. Sleep disruption changes its character significantly across the 55 to 80 age range. The mechanisms driving waking at 58 are not identical to the mechanisms driving waking at 74. I want to know which age group is here because it will directly shape what I cover next. Your body built this system for you. The vagus nerve, the CO2 reflex, the parasympathetic brake, these are not damaged. They are undertrained. 2 minutes a day, consistently applied, can rebuild what years of shallow breathing and chronic stress have worn down. The tool is free. It requires no prescription and no appointment. It requires only the understanding of how the switch actually works and the discipline to use it at the right moment. Before you go, there is something happening on the surface of your tongue right now that most people mistake for dehydration or nothing at all. Depending on its color, its coating, and its shape, it is one of the most precise early warning systems in the human body. Next video, do not miss it.